6:55 a.m. in Sweet TNC. It is Tobago Thursdays, and of course, we are still enjoying that carnival energy. Joining us this morning is the chairman of the Tobago Carnival Committee, Ms. Meisha Trim, to wrap up and just share with us what it was like. Good morning and welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you with us this morning on the show. I can only imagine how Tobago is feeling right now, how your entire team is feeling after this inaugural Tobago Carnival. Tell us, did it meet expectations?
It did. It did for my team and I, and from the looks of it, it did for participants and stakeholders. And in some cases, I think I heard a mass band leader yesterday say it exceeded his expectations.
That is a great thing to hear, you know, meeting expectations. But when you hear somebody say it exceeded their expectations, you know that this is the beginning of something great. So going now from hearing the feedback from one mass band leader, and I'm sure others are going to chime in as the week goes on, one can only imagine that it was profitable. Have you gotten any feedback as to whether or not it was profitable to the stakeholders invested?
Yes, initial reports are indicating that occupancy will be between 85 to 90%. I know for sure we couldn't find rental cars on the island. I know our suppliers and vendors, event suppliers and vendors, were stretched to the limit. And I know if we go down the list, we will hear the same thing over and over.
That is beautiful to hear. Of course, viewers, on your screen right now is just some footage from jubilant masqueraders on the road for Tobago Carnival 2022. I tell you, it's just so joyful to watch. I can only imagine again how everybody is feeling, hoping that everybody has recovered. Now, one of the things that you mentioned was the fact that everybody definitely, you know, gave good feedback, received those blessings from Tobago Carnival. Now, I know there was I don't really want to say it's an issue, but there was a route change for the Parade of the Bands that took place on Sunday, and some vendors and spectators weren't particularly pleased. Can you tell us about that, exactly what happened with the bands not passing through Lambo?
Yeah, we were off to a late start because all music suppliers did not show up to our route on time, and there was a change in the start point that was communicated to the mass band leaders, but from all indications, it did not trickle down to the masqueraders. So there are two things that came together that caused a late start, and in doing so, the TTPS had given us a particular time to close off and end the parade. We were going onto our highways, as you might be aware. And so they were particularly concerned about the time spent on those roadways. And so a decision was taken from that level to actually change the route last minute. We understood, and again, I apologized openly. We already in communication with those vendors who would have had losses and stuff to really compensate and have them recoup, because it was never our intention to have, of course, anyone adversely affected. To the spectators, I hereby publicly apologize as well, because we really wanted to have this route a combination of our highway freedom and our scenic route, which spoke to going through the village of Lambo and coming back out into the waterfront along the Atlantic Ocean. That didn't happen, and we know we have all sorts of unforeseen circumstances in events, especially events of this size, nature, and for the first time. And so that is exactly what happened. It was a decision taken to not affect the parade and the masqueraders that adversely, that we could not recover from it and leave such a different taste in their mouths and in their experience. And I believe that it was the best decision that could have been made based on the the late start time. And again, just from the reactions of those that participated in the parade itself, we understand that it was not such a bad decision after all.
Of course. I mean, to be fair, first time having Carnival in Tobago, there are going to be teething issues, and safety is something that is paramount. And when you speak about the roadways that were going to be used, these things have to be taken into consideration, safety of masqueraders for everybody involved. And I'm sure moving forward for the next Tobago Carnival, there will be, you know, the necessary modifications so that everybody is satisfied and everybody benefits as well. Now, talking about the next Tobago Carnival, there has been a few whispers. Some people are saying maybe it should be moved out of the rainy season. What do you think about that right now? Is it too early to have that discussion?
It's not too early to start thinking about it, but again, from where I sit, when you look at the calendar of events in Tobago for the entire year, it's really there's really no other placement that I can see from now. I mean, when we sit with our postmortem and we field information from stakeholders and interest groups, and we put our heads down and together, we may come up with something else. But from where I sit at this point, October seems to be the perfectly poised month, barring weather. So I think contingencies should be put in place to deal with the fact that we're in the rainy season. But I definitely agree that Tobago should end all global carnival festivities and signal the start of Trinidad's carnival the following year.
That is a fantastic viewpoint. I have to admit, I mean, rain only stops cricket. We know this, and we see this, and even in Trinidad, we see this every year. When it starts to rain, masqueraders are still on the street. People were still fetting. People had a time, and that is one of the most important things as well. That those who come, who are invested, enjoy themselves. So of course, they are going to come back. Now, another question that we really would like to get into, we've seen Carnival, we're all talking about the fact, listen, Tobago Carnival was a success. What are some of the key takeaways from the execution of the entire Carnival for your team?
A lot of keys here. One of the two things that stood out for me is that folks said that they felt safe. And, you know, we had an incident-free carnival. Of that, we're very, very proud. The TTPS showed up and showed out, and for that, we say thank you. Or Disaster Management Agency, TEMA, Tobago Emergency Management Agency. Again, they showed up and showed out. Our public health sector did the same. We were really prepared for what was to come. And in doing so, people felt safe and people felt happy. They also spoke of this freedom that they felt parading on a highway where it normally would be forbidden. So the liberating aspect of Carnival really shone through over the weekend. And you know, as we go through the feedback and the comments and stuff like that, we would take that away to ensure that we continue to create and curate the experience that gives people that that taste of what Tobago is and Tobago's Carnival could be in years to come.
I've heard some people describe it as an unforgettable experience. They're already waiting to see what's happening next year so they can book. Now, in the meantime, before we get to Tobago Carnival for 2023, we do have the National Carnival season coming up in, well, let's just say from January, February. So what are Tobago's plans for the National Carnival season?
Right. So the committee which I chair ends its tenure at the end of this month. So I am not certain that I can speak to Tobago's Carnival plans for February, March, January to March, but definitely I think that some of it will be tweaked because of the proximity to this October festival. And we'll see moving forward. I think the decisions will have to be very prudent about how we approach this carnival that we're normally known for as the cool down part of it. And I think if I am to speak to it, I think we should package that aspect. You know, not partake, but definitely include some elements that were not able to be illuminated in the October Carnival, and build out something that really speaks to what the National Carnival scenario is for us. So moving forward, I'm hoping that, you know, those decisions will be made in conjunction with this committee that is about to wrap up. But whatever it is that Tobago will present itself again in the best way that it can for all visitors and islanders alike.
And we look forward to seeing it because Tobago is definitely continuing to shine, and we look forward to everything that Tobago has to offer. Ms. Trim, thank you so much for being with us this morning on the Now Morning Show. Congratulations again, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to your team as well. You guys came through and you again showed up and showed out, and you were everywhere. You made your connections. You felt your presence was felt, and we thank you for your support of the Tobago Carnival.
Wonderful. It's our pleasure. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
That was Meisha Trim, chairman of the Tobago Carnival Committee. Stay tuned. It's time for birthdays in a few moments.